What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it's Exodus. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
Yeah, now the time has come for the lion to tell his own story. Yeah, the one them called Celestial represent for the mighty lion voice. And this a shook up your planet tectonic. As me sip up my roots and tectonic. And you can't make me jump nor get panic. Of the engine a run like mechanic room.
The time has come for the lioness to tell her own story.
The time has come for lions to tell their own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. I is Dejazmatch, hailing from the island of St. Croix. Yeah, I'm bringing to you Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Because Babylon done when I and I come together. Look how we live together, look how we work together, Oh, Babylon done when Rasta come together. Hail I, Rastafari, His Majesty and Impressment and blessed. Yeah man, hailing from St. Croix, RasTafari, hail you.
Aye.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
Alright, listen to me now, people. The lion roar, no dog bark. See? The lion's voice with Kwasi Bonsu. Time right now for the lion to tell his story. See? Listen up.
Haile.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up lamb's voice. Now put it, I Jollifer said that.
Greetings, this is Ras Elder. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right here, sir. Ras Elder said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right here, sir.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the lion voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Oh, yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the light. Lion voice.
Alright, so continuing on from we're going to talk about the drums right now. The foundation. It gives off that frequency. It encompasses and surrounds and keeps the Ibingi within a one place. It's always on the one. One soul, one youth. Right? Very important.
The more aware you are of yourself, the more you come to know yourself, the more mindful you are, okay, is the more skilled you become at using this powerful engine, which is your mind.
And then the resolution is like just finishing up the lessons now and just saying yes, and reminding people of the theme of your story. So, you know, the theme of this story was the importance of agriculture.
For the motherland, cradle of civilization, for the ancestors and their indomitable spirit, for the elders whom we can learn much, for the youth who represent our promise for tomorrow, for the people, the original people, for the struggle and remembrance of those who struggled on our behalf, for Umoja, the principle of unity that guides us in all we do, for the Creator who created all the things great and small. We give thanks.
Let's go through the principles. The first one, blessed love and greetings. Welcome to day 5, our last day of camp. That's sad, right? Too short. Just when I started to have fun, it's over. But it's been fun, and we'll do this again next year, most definitely. Looking forward to seeing you all again, and stay connected after camp.
Government is trapping the system.
Jano, I'm so hungry, bro. I haven't eaten all day. Like, my head started to hurt me too. Like, what more could I eat right now?
What about a city samosa? Get your samosa, a fusion of Indian, Jamaican, and African culture. City samosas, the best samosas in the city.
Tell them bowledge, the far eye, tell them bow. Haile Selassie, I when me tell them bowledge. The far eye, tell them bow. Haile Selassie, I when me tell them bowledge. The far eye, tell them bow. Haile Selassie, I when me tell them bowledge. The far eye, tell them bow. Haile Selassie, I. The 23rd of July, born in a province named Harar, I burn them God from sky, 'cause I know the prophecy is true. Cause unto us the son was born 1892. We build the OAU, come break all chains. Tell them to far eye, was his name the same? Man that crowned as the Ras, it didn't come fast. Went from village to Dejazmatch, who governed in Harar from the age of 13. This is you blessed with Iris, supreme first king. Hear the throne with him queen, hear the trumpet sound. Gather round, tell the youths them come in village. The far eye, tell them bow. Haile Selassie, let me tell them bowledge. The far eye, tell them bow. Haile Selassie, tell them so. Fight so many wars, just to centralize the tribes. No 9 to 5 the reigns came when the king arrived. Cause out of the womb of Yashima bet he survived born wise. Plus he focused on his plan, no joke. Armies await his command. They say a child shall lead the way. When them see how the warriors surround, that's when the people them say, this child destined for the throne. When them see how we govern in Harar, that's when they all bow down. The government on his shoulders, Mussolini coming with his plan. He's preparing his soldiers, but his plan has to fail. Weep not, the Lion of Judah prevail. Hailage, the far eye, tell him bow. Haile Selassie, when me tell him bowledge. The far eye, tell him bow. Haile Selassie, when me tell him bowledge. The far eye, tell him bow. Haile Selassie, well, trained in the ancient tongues, plus he carried the blood.
Well, front to us a son was born and a child was given.
I want to ask you a question. Have you got your book? Haile Selassie's Ethiopia Volume 1, The Rise of the Peace Warrior King. I've read the book in its entirety, and I must say it's very inspirational, very informative, and very historical, right?
Them call him Ras Tafari when he was born, rainfall from the sky. Them call him Ras Tafari when he was grown in airplanes he fly. They call him Ras Tafari, iron break the chain, weep not, don't cry. Them call him Ras Tafari, read the Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Then born near the city of Harar, the inspiration for Bob Marley's guitar. People crowd him like some big superstar. It no matter if England.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bonsu, aka the Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man. I'm a creative industry attorney, I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Talk Live. Welcome to Lion Talk Live, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. Tonight, we have a very special guest and a very special topic. We welcome once again our esteemed elder, Ras Ronald Pennycooke, out of the EWF, and he reached out to I with some information and shared with I and said, read this and then call I forward. And I read it and I call him forward, and here we are to share with the global family this information. And it's something that we've talked about before on the channel, but it was laid out in such detail that I thought it would be appropriate to seal up our Ras Tafari month with this information. And we're going to be going over an academic article that was written. I see the author in the comment section in Guinea-Bissau. The brethren name is Sifawe Baleka. A lot of I in the Rastafari, we know him as Ras Nathaniel. Controversial, but we cannot take away the brethren research abilities. And we're going to go over one of his articles as featured on his website. And my elder, again, brought this to our attention. And I went and did my due diligence and view the whole settings. And I was impressed how it was laid out. I knew most of the information already, but I was impressed by how it was laid out. And I think there's value in us going through it as a global family, because this history needs to be known. There are some names that we need to, you know what I mean? There are some names that we need in our lexicon as Rastafari people globally. You know what I mean? Reverend Webb, sorry. You know what I mean? Prophet Redding. You know, these are some of the ones them in the history where I as Rastafari people need to have these names as part of the story that we tell. And these ones predate Leonard Howell. The history that we're going to go into starts in 1919. Young Ras Tafari on the throne, sending emissaries to America. What a history, family. It is really a very powerful history. And I have a special guest here to help us to navigate through this history. And this elder, I know, generated a lot of reasoning when he first came on the platform, saying that we need to work with the Boule, and some people burn it out and some people say all kind of thing about it. And this elder has always advocated for that unification with Black Americans and the power of Black American and Black American culture, real Pan-Africanists. So I think he's the perfect elder to go through this information as we set the timeline straight. You know, how does Marcus fit into the whole Rastafari cosmology? How does the early pioneers that were preaching, you know, Reverend Arnold Ford, all of these names that for some of us we're familiar, but most of us never heard of these names, you know what I mean? So we're going to go into that history tonight, family. Get your ital snacks. Make sure your meditation is ready, because this is the platform for high-level Rastafari, Pan-African reasoning, highest frequency. We're going there, family, with our great esteemed elder. But before I bring on the elder, let me just take time to big up the greatest online community on the planet. If you subscribe, you're part of Lion Pride. Big up my Lion Pride family. Make sure you check in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. If you're watching live, if you watch the replay, let us know where you're watching from. Same way. Big up Coach Tommy, the latest addition to our Lion Pride on Patreon family, came in as a monthly subscriber. You can support the work if you love the work. We're asking ones to support financially monthly. We have town hall meetings. We just had our third town hall meeting with our community. Powerful. You can watch the town hall meetings for free on our Patreon if you join as a free member. To participate, you do have to become a monthly subscriber. At any amount, you can subscribe for as little as $5 a month. We're building. We are in the process of really building out this Rastafari independent, non-aligned media architecture. So I'm praying to the Almighty that the item will see the vision and will join us so we can make this a premiere. We want to make CNN look shame and BBC them look shame. We want to make BET, MTV them shame. We want to create on a standard with the HBO and the Hulu and the this and the Netflix and all of the Rastafari content can be and will be, something that inspires across the continent and across the diaspora. But we have to fund it. Nobody's coming to save us. So join the Patreon so we can make it happen. If we do the same things, we'll expect the same results. So join us. If you have a small business, you want to come on board as a sponsor, you can do that as well. Big up Frontline Books. We just had our reading Ras on the front line with Ras Tafari, one of our sponsors. Brother Carl Philippots, one of our sponsors. Big up Brother Carl. Ramia King Design, when I'm stripping my water. Rastafari Business, one of our sponsors. Wally King's Graphics and Design, one of our sponsors. CMOS Life. All of our sponsors, small businesses who support the platform, we are ever thankful. And we need more of the Rastafari family to move from just watching. If I could cash in all of the positive comments I get, we would be a multi-million-dollar network. However, we can't take the goodwill to the bank. We love it still and we give thanks and we're grateful for everything, but we also need those financial contributions. So family, come on board. Let us build something historic together. That being said, big up the Ubuntu Lion Pride. You can do one-time donations. Today is the last day at $70. After today, August, we are going to $100 to become a part of the Ubuntu, which is a lifetime honor, where you are put. And when we build out a physical space, you would be one of those people. Will have an Ubuntu wall where all of the ones who contributed will be memorialized there. So it's a great way to have your business, your family. We have families who are Ubuntu sponsors. We have businesses to just get your name there if you don't want to do the monthly attribution. It's going to keep on going up. So now is a good time. It's going to be 10,000 at some point to be an Ubuntu sponsor. So right now it's at $100. We started, I think, at 50. We're at 100 now. So as the channel grows, the amount to be an Ubuntu sponsor will grow. But now is a great time. Come on board early so people will know that you saw the vision, you were a prophet, and you supported Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media. Big up the Watch and Peep, the Action Lion Pride, those who like, comment, share, the Watch and Peep, they watch, and they also help us with the algorithm. You know what I mean? Very important. The watch time is how we monetize on YouTube. So any way you can support, we are grateful, we are thankful, and we have gratitude. I feel so high right now. We just finished an exclusive with Yasa Safari. That's going to be coming soon. We've been working behind the scenes, some big interviews about to drop on the platform. So make sure if you're not subscribed, you subscribe. We are currently showing our interview with Prince Afsa Wilson. If you haven't seen that, trust me, this great grandson of Empress Menen, the grandson of the great Ras Kassa, he's giving his personal testimonies of His Majesty Empress Menen, how he sees the Lion of Judah, all kind of things. So the full episode is available on Patreon right now, and you can watch the clips on the channel. And we also have Lidge Nebio and a good brethren from the PR from the Crown Council, also up on the channel now. We're going to be showing a lot more Ethiopians, a lot more elders from Ethiopia, people who knew His Majesty. We have searched them out to bring them on the platform so we can capture those testimonies. You know what I mean? We're serious about this work, family, documenting our story. The Lions have to tell it. We cannot depend on Babylon. They don't love us. And if we think they do, we're delusional. We have to invest in our liberation, and that is what we're doing right now. So big up the whole family. All right, housekeeping out of the way. Let us welcome our guest for the evening. He is a legend in his own right, one of the pioneers in the EWF in New York. As an elder, I've learned so much just listening to this elder, his wisdom, his knowledge, his overstanding, great history. If you haven't seen his first episode on the platform, go forward and watch Elder Ronald Pennycooke. Click on the live tab on the homepage, just scroll down, you will see his episode. When he came on the first time, we broke a record in terms of live viewership on the channel, because he's so riveting and the vibration so high. And tonight, I know it's going to be one of those nights. So, global family, help I to welcome our elder, the great Ras Ronald Pennycooke. Welcome to the Lion Talk Live program, my elder. How's everything with the Heights?
Everything is good, my brethren. Yes, very good.
Give thanks, give thanks. It's always an honor to see the eye and to,
yes, sir.
You know what
it's
I mean?
Good to be here.
Yes, whole space. Before we get into the topic for the evening, just for those who don't know the eye, just introduce the eye self, and give the ones them a little background as to who is the eye.
Well, I don't really know what to say, to tell you the truth, you know what I mean? But what I will say is that a couple days ago, the chairman of my local number one in New York, Ethiopian World Federation, local number one, the chairman of our local, he brought with him that article that I sent to you.
Okay.
Now, when I didn't read it at the meeting. I waited until I go home.
Yes.
And when I went home, I read it. And trust me, I couldn't believe what I was reading.
Yes.
Yeah. So we will talk about it. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I don't want
man.
to jump ahead.
No. It's great, because I was gonna ask you the next question. The elder's too humble. But again, we don't have to go through him history because it's already recorded on his episode. Because the next question I was gonna ask is what made you send that article that you were exposed to? What was the thought process?
Well, you're handling the Rastafari non-aligned media. And that's why I chose to send it to you, because you are doing a marvelous job. And yes, my brother, a lot of people are tuning in, and that's what we need. Yes. So that's why I sent it to you, because you are at the forefront of our media. Yes, sir.
Give thanks. That make I feel so mighty. And I want the item to know that I'm not out here just wild, I have elders that I am responsible and accountable to. So when my elder send me something, I have to take the time and I have to read through. And if you want give it a highlight, I have to make the time to do that. So I don't want the item think I'm out here wild and free. No. We represent a community, we represent a people, we represent a liberty, you know what I mean? So the elder, brought this to I, and I'm bringing this to the global family. We do have the author here in the comments, the Brethren Sifawe. I don't know how him reach, no say, we're going to talk about him article, but His Majesty make him appear. And I always rated the brethren as a researcher, you know what I mean? All controversy aside, I rate the brethren and the work speak for itself, you know what I mean? As along with pictures, and it's a marvelous history, and it shows the power. When we say that Haile Selassie is the Almighty, one of the evidence for that is that it never just hit a little section of people of Jamaica. It was a global, you can show global residue of the impact, of the uprising. And so many ones were thinking on the same level or on various aspects of the level, So great. So I won't stay any long. We're not going to go through the whole article. If you want to read the article, you can go to the Brethren website. It's there. Let me bring it up here, so the item can see. And the website is balanta.org, BALANTA.org. The article is titled May 5th, the most important day in the 20th century, and evidence that the ancestors of African people communicate to their descendants on the earth and shape world events. So I'm going to read through this and we're going to reason on this. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's serious. It's serious. It's serious. So, and I encourage the family to read the entire article because it goes up through the war and into a lot of history that everyone should know. And if you're on the fence about Rastafari, this is something that should help to put some strength in your spine and make you stand up a little straighter and know yourself. You know what I mean? Know that you are holding the baton. You know what I mean? And before we start there, I want to block anything, my elder.
Well, no, I'm interested to know where you're gonna start from, because
Oh,
my interest in it is the Rastafarites.
yes. That
So
is the
that's all
topic.
I'm
That
gonna
is
say
the
right
topic.
now.
Yeah, that is the topic that we're touching today is the Rastafarites. Who are the Rastafarites? Where did this liberty catch the flame? So we're gonna start at the beginning. So I'm gonna read from the beginning, and then we'll stop and pause and reason and come back again. Just like we do at the IDOR
Yes, sir.
study group. So the article starts. It says in 1917, a black man named Charles Henry Holmes, pen name Clayton Adams, wrote a book entitled Ethiopia, the Land of Promise, a book with a purpose. The book was a novel best described as visionary prophetic fiction. In the book, five black men had strange dreams which caused them all to meet together on May 5th. One of the dreams pictured black soldiers and a red, gold, and green flag. The men began the men began meeting on the 5th of every month and realized that their dream was about forming an organization, the Ethiopian Union, in order to combat and conquer Jim Crowism in America. The events of the book actually came through true. Black soldiers in Ethiopia and all over the world gathered together as Ethiopian emperor left on May 5th, 1936 to fight the Battle of Armageddon. After exactly 5 years of battle on May 5th, 1941, the Ethiopian emperor returned to Ethiopia victorious. He then set up the Ethiopian Union in Addis Ababa, calling it the Organization of African Unity, the OAU. Below is the most amazing story how all this happened exactly as the ancestors revealed it to Charles Henry Holmes, pen names Clayton Adams, who prophesied it in the book. So this is the opening. The brethren sets it out, and we're utilizing fair use. Again, I encourage everyone to review the entire article on the Brethren site, balanta.org. So, was the eye familiar, Elder Pennycooke, about Clayton Adams? Have you ever heard that history before?
No, this is totally new to me, right? And I consider myself to be knowledgeable, But then
Yes.
I never knew anything about this. So this
Yes.
is something very exciting because it is really telling us that what we do today has a relationship with what they were doing back in 1917. Yeah.
Yes.
So we will touch on it as we go along.
Which is over 100 years ago. And
Yes.
what this says to I is that these black people, because it's the same bloodline that run through I and I in the diaspora, are gifted with the iris of prophecy. So as events are flowing, people are feeling an energy that's coming. Something is bubbling. Remember that these black people are black people under subjugation. They cannot drink out of the same water fountain as white people. They can look a white person in the eye or they risk being murdered, lynched, killed, And this man in the midst of this now is writing a fiction novel about black people coming together on May 5th and forming something called the Ethiopian Union. And the article go on to explain the importance of Ethiopia in the cosmology of black Americans at the time. So remember, this is America that we're talking about. And now we introduce another character that everyone should know, everyone should be familiar with. And we continue. The article goes on to state, the same year, Robert Atlee Rogers, another black man, also produced a pamphlet called The Negro Map of Life and began traveling across the United States preaching the law of Ethiopians' redemption. 2 years later, in 1919, Regent Plenipotentiary Ras Tafari sent 4 ambassadors by the way of the ocean to the United States. The Royal Ethiopian Mission included Dejazmatch Nedo, Empress Aditu's nephew and commander of the Imperial Army, Atto Balangata, Hiroi Haile Selassie, mayor of Addis Ababa, Atto Kantiba Gabro, mayor of Gondar, Atto Sinkas, secretary of the commander of the Ethiopian Army. Their purpose was to renew the Treaty of Friendship with the United States signed by Emperor Menelik in 1904. In honor of their visit, the Ethiopian flag was ceremoniously hoisted over the White House. So how many people knew that the Lion of Judah flag was hoisted over the White House in 1919? Height of Jim Crow. And all of these people mentioned would have been princes of the royal bloodline. So these are princes, and we'll see how that factors in. But at this time, this is when Empress Zaidito is the reigning monarch, and Ras Tafari is heir to the throne, but he's handling all of the affairs of government. So everything except for the title, he's running Ethiopia. Empress Zaidito is the figurehead. Still holds tremendous sway and has her her contingent of people who are loyal to her, who are loyal to her father. But the power, the vision, the execution is all coming from Ras Tafari. So when you read this about Atlee Rogers, which he has created one of the seminal books of Rastafari Foundation, were you familiar with this part, and what do you think about what the brethren has outlined here about Rastafari sending ambassadors in 1919?
Well, what it says to me, that is an expression of His Majesty's love for us. Yes. He realizes what we are going through. And he realizes that we need to come home. So he's going to put in place everything that we need to come home, even if the governments that represent us, let us say, remain tardy, they become tardy, which means that they're kind of lazy, right? Yeah. Even if the governments are like that, that don't stop us, because he will provide us with whatever it is we need to help ourselves. And that is what is apparent to me. Yeah, the King of Kings is reaching out to his subjects, and it is almost as if Ibrahim Traore,
Yeah.
yes, what he's doing today is exactly what His Majesty was doing. Yes. So I am wondering if Ibrahim know anything about His Majesty, and if he
Yeah.
has access to the teachings of His Majesty. Because I cannot believe it. He is doing exactly what His Majesty said.
Yes.
Yeah. So everything is just coming. Yes, go ahead.
No, I've made the same point. So I'm glad to hear from an elder. Because I said all of the things that we see Ibrahim Traore doing, a young Rastafari was doing in Ethiopia in that time before social media. And
yes,
one of the things that this shows is that that vibration was reaching out the same way that we, follow every day. We are watch what Ibrahim Traore are going with, and we get inspired. The information may have moved more slowly in that time, but the information was going out to the black world, and they were being inspired. And we'll read a little bit more further down in the article how the inspiration connected with some people that them all take up arms, for defend what they thought was their right. Hold on, we have the article, we have the author here in the comments. The brethren said it's important to emphasize 1909. Robert Daniel Alexander moves from Chicago to Ethiopia. He is the first descendant of people trafficked from Africa and enslaved in the Americas to repatriate to Ethiopia. So these are, and that's also written in the article as well. So these are the history, that is very important for us, because what they are trying to do, and right now, there's a huge diaspora war that's being pushed online, African Americans against Caribbean, against continental Africans, and them accost them one another back and forth. All of this is the divide and rule tactics, because they see the power of the Pan-African flame, kindling. And this history, what I love about it is shows the interconnectedness has always been there. There's not, it's not the aberration, it's not the, it's the normal progression of I and I people, that I and I would seek to return to Africa, that I and I see that connection with Africa. They've always been trying to separate I from the continent and from the homeland. And as Rastafari, we have a unique role to crash these diaspora wars and to chant for the oneness. This is one of the reasons why I created this platform, because I want to make sure that Rastafari voice is put within that Pan-African pantheon, and we're not just, they don't just put us in a one love hippie type of space. Them way the elder, because this was a black liberation movement in its genesis. Them way there.
Okay, I have a message. You can see me?
Yes.
Okay, I have a message where it says WhatsApp stop working, and then now it give me a link for really start it again. But the cursor, I can't find it. So, I want to just go and
don't press
I go
anything. So we're
continue.
hearing the eye good. We're hearing the eye good, and we see the eye good. So don't press nothing around your side there. All right?
All right. What was the question you asked me again?
No, I'm just saying that they're trying to push a diaspora war. And this information shows interconnectedness that has always been there between Black Americans. We got the information that the first Black American repatriated to Ethiopia in 1909 against the people from the Caribbean. We have Robert Atterley Rogers, who was moving through America, preaching about His Majesty and blackness and Ethiopia in the the teens. So there's always this interconnected energy between Africa, Black Americans, and Black people in the Caribbean. You know what I mean? One family. How do I cite that?
Well, you know, I'm going to jump to the Rastafarites to bring it home. Now, it started in America, right? You know, I am trying to figure out why they call themselves that. Yeah. Because it is today the same thing, Rastafarites in Jamaica. Yeah. But we don't know that it came from America. We think it's Jamaica it come from. So I want us to know that it came from America. And why? It's because His Majesty loved Black Americans. Yes, He loved them very much. Why? Because they are professionals. Yes, they are well trained. Yes. They are exactly who we need in Africa to make Africa beautiful. And Africa is a rich place, you know, it's a rich place.
Yes.
Traore is showing us that. Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to get too excited, but trust me, man, it's very exciting what's going on, you know? Yeah, with Traore, what His Majesty has done for us, what he has done for us, you know, is not a simple thing, you know.
Yes.
How can he? All right, he's the King of Kings. He's sitting at his desk and he's saying to himself, all right, how shall I go about organizing Black people around the world? Yeah, okay, I know what I will do. I will give them a constitution. Yes. And he gave us a constitution. And the constitution tells us how to behave.
Yes.
Yeah. So that means now we have the first thing to build upon. And then he gave us land.
Yes.
And divided the land equally among us. Listen, that alone is a mystery. How could he divide the land among us? And who is us? Us is the Black people of the world. Yeah, all of us get an equal share of the land. That's what he did for us. So we have to say to ourselves, blouse and skirt. This little man do all of that for me. That means him set me up to be rich. Me can't pour,
No.
But yeah, I say.
No, I'm agreeing with the eye. That's why I had to have the eye on as we go through this history, because the eye sent it to I, and we want to get the eye insight in terms of this information, and we just give thanks that we can share this information with the global family. And again, like I said, we have the author here in the comments. So we're going through, family. A lot of the items, this will be the first time hearing this information, but it's necessary. We've come to the time where we need, because I said this, I said the moment that Rastafari hit Black American culture, it done this, so because we see, with hip hop and all these things, Black American culture is the most influential culture on the planet. And one of the things, even with Bob Marley, before he passed away from the earth, he strategically said he wanted to reach the Black American audience, and he stopped doing stadium shows so he could do places like the Apollo, go on the circuit with the Temptation. He was trying to reach the Black American audience, because he knew that if we can get the Black American, if Rastafari full up the ghettos like in Jamaica or every garrison, say Ras them dead, hold them ground. If that happens in America with the resources of America, we're going to see something unprecedented, and that's still going to happen and will happen. We are confident in that reality, and this history getting out there, I think, is very important for that, because a lot of Americans may think this is a Jamaican vibration. Now, I say that Rastafari started in Ethiopia because we know that there were priests, there were people in Ethiopia who cited the divinity of His Majesty from he was a youth. You know what I mean? So the true faith and that acceptance to I start in Ethiopia. But with this information, I think it's very clear that America is an important staging ground for the uprising. Now, it didn't catch, and we're going to also talk about why we think it didn't catch on, after the 1930s, it kind of waned, and we don't really hear too much about that, and Jamaica pick up from there, and it catch in Jamaica, and from Jamaica it spread worldwide. There's no doubt that Jamaica spread this thing worldwide. But in terms of the soil, the fertile soil, it's very difficult to argue against the role that Black Americans played, because even the look to the east that we thought Marcus, we grew up thinking it was Marcus Garvey who said, look to the east for the coming of a black king. And find out, say, is a man named James Webb, you know what I mean? And that Marcus adopted, you know what I mean? So these are key history. Now let me continue reading here. So it says, during the Ethiopia mission, the bloodiest race riot in Chicago's history erupted on July 27, 1919. Eugene Williams, a young black boy, drowned at the 29th Street beach after a rock thrown by George Stuber, a young white boy, knocked Williams from a raft. The Ethiopian Prince Nado, who stated that he had seen the Chicago Defender newspaper in Ethiopia, told one of their reporters, Ethiopians dislike brutality, burning at the stake, lynching of any nature, and other outrages handed upon the quote-unquote African American people. Fight on, don't stop. So the Ethiopians here are showing their solidarity, and this is why I love the Brethren research style, where he includes these images so you can see the papers of the time. And the Chicago Defender is one of the key pieces of African American history that everyone should know about. The Chicago Defender, one of the seminal pieces of media architecture, and this is why you see when I chant for Rastafari, independent, non-aligned media, it's in a long line of tradition of liberation media. We cannot have the liberation without the media that is there, you know what I mean? So it's very important that we know. Let me just continue, and then we'll get the input. It says, before the Ethiopian mission ended, an invitation to return to repatriate to Ethiopia was made to Rabbi Arnold Ford. That the offer of repatriation was given to him was extremely significant, because Rabbi Ford was the leader of the Hebrew Israelites, Black Jews of Harlem. In this capacity, he would be able to resettle the existing remnant of Israel that was captured in the slave trade. In addition, Rabbi Ford was a musical director of Marcus Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association, the UNIA. Given that the UNIA was the largest, greatest organization of the scattered Ethiopian Africans, it makes perfect sense to make the offer to the UNIA. Finally, as musical director, Rabbi Ford could use the traditional spiritual medium of songs, the psalms and the hymns, to communicate the Ethiopian message to the mass of Black people scattered in the north, south, and Central America, including the Caribbean. This Rabbi Ford did. It is therefore no coincidence that Rabbi Ford gave the UNIA the Universal Ethiopian Anthem, later to be used by the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated, EWF. The Rastafari family worldwide still sings this anthem at its gatherings. And ones who have ever been to a Nyabingi gathering would know that we open the eyes with the anthem and we seal the eyes with the anthem. So this is a direct lineage to this history that we're reading about. Very serious, very serious. Do I want to block anything about Reverend Ford, Arnold Ford, and the Hebrew Israelite connection?
Well, he has really gotten the invitation that I was speaking about. You remember I tell you, said in Majesty, give them an invitation to come home because he knows what they're going through over here, and he wants them to really, let us say, leave that alone and come home. Yes, that is the proof. Yeah, because that means they might bring home all of the Jew them, What do you? Yes, man. So you see, Ethiopia is very strategic, As a matter of fact, His Majesty say, him going to defeat Mussolini. Them time the Mussolini are winning up, but here what the Majesty say, we gonna defeat Mussolini. You know why? Because we have some fierce warriors. When him say that, it really show me, say, Ethiopia stand up on its own. Yeah. Fierce warriors. Listen, man. Hey, that Traore show we today, Him is a fierce warrior,
Yes,
Yeah. So everything I come right round to we again. Because now we find out so that the American them name Rastafarites and the West Indies name Rastafari. It's the same people. It's the same movement. Yes. What is the movement? To go home. Yes. What are we trying to do? Get the professionals to lead the way. We don't want the average people to go first. We want the professionals to go first. And then now they will be employed in the different aspects of what it is the government needs so that we can really set the government the way we want it set and then now have it run the right way forevermore. What is wrong with that? That's what we want. Yes, man. And the professionals are in America like, woyo, you're all over the place. Yes, man.
Yes.
If we now get them to pay attention to what we're saying, because what we're saying, belongs to all of us. They are first. It belongs to them first. Yes, man. And then now it come down to we. So you see, Black Americans is very special, Yes, man. Special. How would you?
Serious sound.
Yes,
serious
man.
sound. Let us continue. It says on December 20th. Here it says 2019. I think it means it's in 1919. On December 20th, 1919, the Chicago Defender wrote, the planning for Abyssinians on January 27, 1920, the king of Abyssinia will be crowned, and then he will appoint his representatives who will accompany the prince here to resume commercial trade with the United States. This is what Saint Bishop J.A. Hickerson, himself a native of Abyssinia, told a Defender reporter who interviewed the bishop at the parish house of the church, which they termed the Ethiopian National Church, 62 East 123rd Street. The bishop, who was attired in silken robes of the Abyssinians, said that the queen of the African country had retired from the throne in the ceremony with the rule laid down by the Queen of Sheba. The committee is planning a wonderful reception to the Crown Prince and his followers when they finally reach this country. During the same year, as the Ethiopian mission, a black man from Chicago named Reverend James Morris Webb. And this name is a name that every Rastafari should know. Let me say it again. Named Reverend James Morris Webb published a treatise entitled A Black Will Be the Coming Universal King, proven by biblical history. Reverend Webb's prophecy were based on the 4th chapter of Micah, the 3rd chapter of Habakkuk, and the 3rd chapter of Joel. And this is so important because it shows that black people, despite the lack of social media, were following the developments of Ethiopia, that they were globally minded even at this time. Remember that there was no freedom of movement at this time. This is the heights of Jim Crow, both in the north and the south. So this is a great time of tribulation. And you have these, the black church, and this is why we also have to acknowledge the role of the black church historically. The black church was really instrumental in raising the consciousness of black people in the early days before the prosperity gospel and all them things they take over and kind of get straight. But the black church was a center of resistance during Jim Crow, and you had some serious militant black pastors, and they, even though were coming out of a Protestant tradition for the most part, they were reading the Bible and seeing Ethiopia written in the Bible. And they were identifying that the Israelites were black people. And this is, when you get Rabbi Arnold Ford, we see the Hebrew Israelites are wear them purple suit and we think is a new thing. You know what I mean? But this concept of black people being Israel is a long time tradition. As long as black people could read the prophecy for themselves, they were identifying, they were connecting the dots that these people written in the Bible were not Europeans, and that they must have been black people because they were identified in conjunction with the Ethiopians. The Ethiopian, Kush was a landmark in the Bible that gave people that authorship, and this is why we had the explosion of the Abyssinian Baptist Church, of the different Ethiopian, the whole history of Ethiopianism. So this article is showing us, and Reverend Webb, you see the Negro Universal King coming to the world. You see this article here, and then we have right beside it, this is Prophet Redding, and we're going to learn about Prophet Redding. This is, probably the first Rastafari militant, in terms of man will pick up arms and go a street, in terms of that radical side, which we would later see in places like Dominica, where Rasses picked up arms to defend their rights and thing. Most of the movement rejected that lane, but there were people in the early movement that decided to go that route there, and Prophet Redding was one of these early Rastafarites who did that. So we're gonna hear more about him further down in the article. But these are two people that we want every Rastafari person, the same way that we reverence Leonard Howell and we talk about Leonard Howell and Dunkley and Hibbert and all these ones. These brethren names should call in the same light as these ones, as pioneers. And again, we're going to talk about why it never catch in America with this foundation. And if you have any sounds that you want to share in the comments, please share with us. Please share with us in the comments why you think the spark of Rastafari never caught on from this tradition with Webb and Redding, and we'll read about some others to come. Atlee Rogers was from Anguilla, Bongo Wisely. That is correct. And this is why I say Black Americans, people from the Caribbean and Africa, because, when we look at the emperor's emissaries, they were Africans. When we look at James Webb, Black Americans, Reading, Black Americans. And then we look at Atlee Rogers, we have the Caribbean. We look at Marcus Garvey, the Caribbean. So this divide and rule tactics, as Rastafari, we have to be like the Marines, meaning that we're the tip of the spear to attack this tribalism and this they're trying to destroy Pan-African vibration with this division and these diaspora wars. We have to arm ourselves with this information. If you say no, we can't take that route there because it's not consistent with our history and our uprising. We were always working together, sharing information, interconnected as a people. You know what I mean? So very, very serious. All right, let me continue. Another black man named Grover Redding, who lived in Chicago and witnessed the visit of the Ethiopian mission, began to preach that the visit from the 4 Ethiopian ambassadors was the actual and literal fulfillment of Psalm 68:31. Princes shall come out of Egypt. Ethiopia shall stretch forth her hands unto God. Redding also preached that the Ethiopian mission fulfilled Isaiah 18:1-7, which states, hold on, let me clean my glasses because I read. But this history, family, is very serious. All right. So Redding also preached that the Ethiopian mission fulfilled Isaiah 18:1-7. Woe to the land shadowing with wings, which is beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, that sendeth ambassadors by the sea. And ambassadors by the sea is highlighted because the Ethiopian mission came to America by boat. In those days, this was before air travel was regular. So the ambassadors came by the sea. Let me read it from the top. Woe to the land shadowed with wings, which beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, which sendeth ambassadors by the sea, even in vessels of bulrushes upon the water, saying, Go ye swift messengers to a nation scattered and peeled, to a people terrible from their beginning. Hitherto a nation meted out and trodden down, whose land the rivers have spoiled. All ye inhabitants of the world and dwellers on earth, see ye when he lifteth up an ensign on the mountain, and when he bloweth a trumpet. Hear ye, for in the land said unto me, I will take my rest, and I will consider in my dwelling place like a clear heat upon the herbs, and like a cloud of dew in the year of harvest. In that time shall the present be brought unto the Lord of hosts, of a people scattered and peeled, and from a people terrible from their beginning hereto, a nation meted out and trodden under feet, whose land the rivers have spoiled, to the place of the name of the Lord of hosts, the Mount Zion. Isaiah 18:1-7. So one can go and cite it up, and then it says, had not the princes come out of Ethiopia? Didn't 4 ambassadors arrive to the land shadowing with wings? And then in quotes it says, of the American eagle, which is beyond the rivers of Ethiopia? Were not the black people scattered and downtrodden, sold on auction blocks upon arrival, and terrible since their beginning in this spoiled land? Wasn't an ensign, in quotes, flag, raised upon the nation's capital in honor of the swift messengers? These are all questions, and This also mirrors the prophetic tradition of Rastafari, in terms of, um, I matching historical events to prophetic events. You know what I mean? So this is a long tradition before we even knew about Grover Redding. When I came into the tradition, the elders were doing these things. Elders like Ras Iris, other elders matching historical events, matching it up with prophecy. So this is very serious. And then it says the prophet Zephaniah revealed to Redding the interpretation of the Ethiopian mission and the meaning of Isaiah. Redding preached, "Woe unto her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured by the fire of my jealousy. For then I will turn to the people of a pure language, that they may call upon the name of the Most High, to serve him with one consent. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my supplements, even the daughters of my dispersed, shall bring mine offering. In that day shalt thou not be ashamed for all thy doings, wherein thou hast transgressed against me. For then I shall take away out of the midst of thee that rejoice in thy pride, and thou shalt no more be haughty because of my holy mountain. I will also leave in the midst of thee an afflicted and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of the Most High. I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly, who are of thee, to whom the reproach of it was a burden. Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halted, and gather her that was driven out, and I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. At that time will I bring you again, even in the time that I gather you, for I will make you a name and a praise among all the people of the earth, when I turn back your captivity before your eyes, saith the Most High. Haile Selassie the first, King Rastafari. This fulfillment of prophecy inspired the faith of Grover, the prophet Redding, to start working. He began to organize Ethiopians, my supplements, even the daughter, or my dispersed and afflicted and poor people, sorrowful, to whom the reproach of it was a burden, to gather them for the solemn assembly, to the place of the name of the Lord of hosts, the Mount Zion, the name of the Prophet Redding's organization, the Star Order of Ethiopia, and the Ethiopian mission to Abyssinia. Prophet Redding studied the Treaty of Friendship that the Ethiopian ambassadors renewed with the United States according to the treaty. And this next part goes over the treaty, and it's so crucial, because why this treaty was important is because it conferred upon Ethiopians the rights, equal rights as citizens, to trade and to move around as with Americans. And how this was interpreted by Redding and other black people of the time is that this identity that we've been given, this Negro identity or this nigger identity, is a false identity, that is an identity of bondage, and that we are actually Ethiopians and free, because they were reading the treaty where Ethiopians were free, to interact and to trade and move around, whereas in Jim Crow America, they could not move around, they could not trade, they could not enter into white establishments, you know what I mean? So it is a serious thing. How do I view what we've been saying so far, Elder?
Well, we are being called home. If you listen to what is being said, in the Bible and just by the regular people, It's a call to come home. Yes. So we're gonna have to really look at that, and see how we're gonna really deal with it. Because the way how we can deal with it is to really identify the professionals who shall go ahead of us, and then they will make the preparations that they need to make so that when we come home, we will be, let us say, welcomed. That's what it is all about,
Yes.
Because staying in Babylon don't really make no sense.
Mm-hmm.
All these years on Babylon still holding on to them foolishness. Them don't like this person. Them don't like that person. I mean, it's foolishness. Hey, listen, in this document that we're reading, there were some commandments mentioned. Do you remember them? Not all of them, but do you remember the first commandment?
What was it? Remind I.
All right, hold on. The author of it is in the chat, right?
Yes, yes.
Ask him, what is the number one commandment? And let me see if he can tell me.
And this commandment was from who? Where was this commandment from?
It was in this same article. It's
No,
like we were being told that we need some commandments to follow. And that
okay.
is what it is. So that the first commandment, man, I need to hear it. Now, if we, right? Now, if he can get to the phone right away, then I will give the answer. But, we're trying to see if he can give us the answer, right? So see if you can get a prompt from him saying, yes, he knows the answer or what. Yes.
Okay, okay. Let us go forward. We're gonna read while we wait for that. Prophet Redding studied the Treaty of Friendship that the Ethiopian ambassadors renewed with the United States. According to the treaty, Article 1, citizens of the two powers, like citizens of other countries, shall be freely able to travel. Hold on, let me bring it up here. Um, Citizens of the two powers, like citizens of other countries, shall be able to freely travel and to transact business throughout the extent of the territories of the two contracting powers, while respecting the usages and submitting themselves to the tribunals of the countries which they may be located. So that's Article 1. And this is a marvel to Black Americans who are in Jim Crow, that these Black people from Africa were being given this type of respect and privileges in America that hated Black people with a perfect hatred. Article 2, in order to facilitate commercial relations, the two governments shall ensure throughout the extent of their respective territories the security of those engaged in business therein and of their property. And then Article 3, the two contracting governments shall reciprocally grant to all citizens of the United States of America and to the citizens of Ethiopia all the advantages which they should accord to the other powers in respect to custom duties, imports, and jurisdiction. So this was, a key. And we have an image of the treaty here, and you see that Lion of Judah. You see the Star of David. You know what I mean? So this artifact, and that's why I like the Brethren research style, because he includes the images so that we can see, the symbology of Ethiopia at the time. And remember, this is before the coronation. So Ethiopia is very proudly coming with this Solomonic claim. This is before the state of Israel. There's no state of Israel at this time in the Middle East, in Palestine. This is Ethiopia boldly, declaring to the European nations who they are. You know what I mean? Serious. Look, we have a lot of people coming out. Floyd Jarvis is the next man that know this history. Prophet Grover Redding. Big up yourself. Floyd Jarvis doing some powerful work with the prison ministry. We're gonna have Floyd Jarvis on this topic as well, because the Brethren has done a lot of research on this as well. So look out for Floyd Jarvis. We just wait for the phone call. Big up yourself, Ross, Floyd, and he's a Prophet Grover Redding. So this is a history that is getting more highlight, and as Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media, my elder contacted sent and said, read this, and you know what I mean, call me. And me say, you know, you want to bring this to the people? And say, sure. So that is why we're here. I'm obedient to my elders, you know what I mean? My elders bring something to we try to be responsive within I power. So this is why you should support Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media. This is the author. He says the holy commandment, love ye one another, O children of Ethiopia.
Oh, yes, man. Oh, yes, man.
And for by no other way can ye love the Lord your God. So all of the petty differences.
Yes, man. Hey, put it aside, man. It's not important. What is important, we must love each other. Yes, man.
Serious. Serious. We're fighting Wi-Fi the guy. We're fighting Wi-Fi the guy today. But continue, Elder.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but it says love each other. That's the thing I love about it, you know. And the Ethiopian, them always put that up front.
Mm-hmm. So I just want people to see the imagery here. I'm making it large. We can't see, but we see the Lion of Judah. This is a treaty between the most powerful emerging nation, because this is when America is rising at the time and taking over from the British Empire. This is after World War One, and not before the Great Second World War. And we have this treaty, and the treaty is being stamped by the Lion of Judah, this Israel. And remember, this is before the state of Israel, so it look like because this look like the Israeli flag that they have. So it look like Israel really take away the Ethiopian symbology in them flag, you know what I mean? So this is an interesting history. Remember, this is 1919, you know what I mean? Very serious, very serious. So let us continue with the article. We're having a little technical difficulties with our elder and his internet connection, but we're making it do. All right, so let's continue. And again, this is from balanta.org, so I'm encouraging ones to go read the whole article. We're not going to go through the whole article. We're just going through the part on the Rastafarites and the early Black American inputs into the Rastafari tradition. So it said, to the Prophet Redding, the treaty revealed two very important truths. One, Ethiopian citizens were to be accorded rights and privileges that he, as a black man, descended from Africans brought to America against their will in chains aboard slave ships, was barred by Jim Crow laws and customs. And two, Ethiopia in the future planned greater contact with the United States for commercial purposes. So you see, and this is the other thing, always His Majesty, always His Majesty comes with the economic balance, you know what I mean? So this concept that Rastafari don't deal with money and that we not to deal with economics is such a false concept, and it's so far from the essence of this trad, because remember that the Trinity sign that we hold represents as above, so below, you know what I mean? As above, so below. So I have to recognize that balance, you know what I mean? Yes, spiritual heights, but we have to build an economic base. And this is one of the things that I realize, even building this platform, how difficult it is to get Rastafari people to support this platform um, when they know that we're doing great work here, but to support financially because we have these concepts that money, we have to deal with money. You know what I mean? Money is evil. We have to get rid of these concepts. This is why we can build institutions that employ people. And that is where I am right now. You know what I mean? Is that if we're not building institutions right now as Rastafari, this generation, the generation of them that seek Him, we are failing because our elders established this liberty to the four corners of the earth. These are our ancestors that are establishing the concepts. That's what we're reading about right now. Ancestors that establish the concepts of the divinity, acknowledging that Rastafari was our supreme leader. You know, that's what these ancestors really did, blazing that trail. And then we had the great ancestors in Jamaica that really blazed a trail that we could wear our natty, that we could have ital, that we could, you know, free up the ganja. All of these things, you know what I mean? So each generation has their role. Our role is to build the institutions, the industrialization of the liberty. We have to scale the liberty and now build. I should be able to employ a staff of Rastafari people so that we have a world-class media operation. But how do I do it? I can only do that with the people supporting. So I want the IMC again that Ethiopia in the future plan greater contact with the United States for commercial purposes. So trade, economic development, this is what His Majesty was dealing with the treaty and why he sent his emissaries, one of the main reasons. So I just want to emphasize that part there. The article goes on to say, thus, on one hand, the Prophet Redding, seeking to escape his second-class Jim Crow status and condition, saw salvation in Ethiopian citizenship. As an Ethiopian, he and others would be able to freely travel and transact business throughout the extent of the territories, with the security of those engaged in business therein and of their property. Therefore, Prophet Redding sought to renounce his American Jim Crow Negro status and become a citizen of Ethiopia, pledging allegiance to the government of Ras Tafari. On the other hand, biblical prophecy said that the Ethiopian ambassadors would come to announce the return of the scattered Ethiopians to Zion. Therefore, reasoned Prophet Redding, salvation in this lifetime meant becoming Ethiopian to escape Jim Crow. The Star Order of Ethiopia in Chicago would gather the scattered Ethiopians to wait on the Lord for their return, all the while preparing themselves for business in Ethiopia. For $1, the Star of Ethiopia provided an Ethiopian flag, a small pamphlet containing prophecy related to the return of black-skinned people to Africa, a copy of the treaty between the United States and Ethiopia, and a picture of Ras Tafari. The pamphlet quoted Zephaniah 3:8 to 10, Isaiah 18, and Psalms 68:30 to 31, and published the following message on their membership application. This is to certify that my name was given to Elder Grover Redding, missionary to Abyssinia, to show my brothers in my motherland that I am with them, heart and soul. I have signed my name as an Ethiopian in America in sympathy with our motherland, Ethiopia. I henceforth denounce the name Negro, which was given to me by another race. So we in Jamaica would later say, how could I give up a continent for an island? You know what I mean? And other reasoning. Elder Pennycooke, all the eyes see
Yes, sir.
the works of Grover Redding. Were you familiar before reading this article with Grover? Reading, the prophet?
No, no. I had no knowledge of this part of history. Yeah. But what it is saying to me is that everything that we do, including the professionals that we are looking for, they talk about it, They list them out by name and they call them out by name, different professions. You know what I mean? So we have something on the desk of the Ethiopians today. Yes, the Ethiopian government has given us a letter, and I sent you a copy of it. And the letter is telling you that all is in order, and all we have to do is just get busy, get to work. And what it is we need to do, attract the professionals to come in so that we can start this work. Yes, it is a beautiful work, I mean, while Traore is doing things on his side, we can be on the other side doing the same thing, and then we meet in the middle and celebrate. Yes, man. Oh, Lord, man, this thing is too beautiful. Yes, black people is our time now. Our time now. Yes, it's time for us to get rich. We have been poor long enough. Yes.
I'm glad you said that. And please, Ella, tell the people they need to support the Lion Voice Network, because I don't know. I keep calling my brothers and sisters to support the platform. I don't know if my voice is irritating or what may I do wrong.
No, man, no, man. Our people already, they're very stubborn, so yeah, it's gonna be hard to get them to do that, but don't give up. Keep trying, and then eventually they will. Yeah. Because we're gonna have to do certain things to really bring in the money. Yeah, we can't
Yeah.
just depend on the people. Yes,
No,
is we
no,
gonna have to do certain things.
no one is
And
coming
listen
to
to me.
save us. No one is coming to save us. I
Listen,
keep say that. So I
listen to
give
me.
thanks with elders like the eye, it encourages I to continue. It's
Yeah.
a lonely journey sometime, but we do give thanks, for the
Now
encouragement.
you might be having you might have the solution at hand, because I've seen artists on your show that has name, commercial name. So that means we can get an artist from hip hop, an artist from Afrobeat, and an artist from reggae to come and sit down with us so that we can discuss this opportunity that Africa is offering us. Yes, all of us get rich. Listen, man, this is not an easy thing. Yeah, it take a genius to come up with this. And he has, so that now we got to take a look at it. And then now, once we take a look at it, Lord of mercy, man, just go to work. Yes. And that's all we need. We don't need to really worry about what another person do and what another person say. No, that's irrelevant. No, all it is important is what we do. Yes. And then no one can stop us. Africa, yes, Africa is on a rise that the world cannot stop. No one can stop it, no matter what they do. Yeah. So it's better we just get involved because it's we. Yeah. So we're going to get involved. Yeah. No, all right. How do we get involved? Because um, one way to get involved is to get in touch with Traore and tell him, say, you're coming home and you're this professional or you're that professional. And then now him will know what to do and put you up in the right place and you're gone clear. Right. But I know who is the grassroots. We have a similar opportunity because the government of Ethiopia is telling us that our plan to them is quite acceptable. All we need to do is go to work. That's what they said to us, poor people. Yeah. So we have been able to put together a plan that is very impressive. Yeah. They are the ones who say so and say, yes, it is acceptable. This is exactly what Ethiopia needs. And what is it that we say to them? Infrastructure. We want to come and help 1 million families put in infrastructure for the place. Infrastructure means light and if you put in those three things for the people, trust me, man, they can help themselves. Yes. All right, those who cannot help themselves, then we give them a mortgage. Yes. And those who cannot afford a mortgage, we give them training. Yes. So that they will know what to do to avoid that poverty at all costs. Because in our land, poverty is not allowed. What are you talking about? Poverty, that's history. When people come and visit our land, they say, oh Lord, there's no poverty here. I wish I lived in a place like this. Yes, man. Well, I mean, I tell you, it's our time now. Yeah, our time now. Mm. Black Americans, yes, man, listen to me. You're loved. You're cared
Yes.
for. Come on
Give
in and
thanks.
let's get busy.
Give thanks, my elder. We're gonna continue with the article. It says membership entailed signing the application that committed oneself to the return to my motherland of Ethiopia in order to fill one of 44 positions, such as electrical engineer, mechanical craftsman, civil engineer, architect, chemist, sign painter, cartoonist, illustrator, traffic manager, teacher, auto repair, agriculture, poultry raising. So this is what the elder was talking about in terms of professionals. And it shows that Prophet Redding was thinking on a development level. You know, he wasn't thinking in a fantasy type of go to Zion and kick up your foot them, sit up and rest a little while. You know, they were thinking about development, nation building, everyone from the chicken man to the electrical engineer, you know. And the article goes on to say, at this point, the applicant declares himself ready at any time needed to fill any positions in the list, which he has checked and which he is qualified to fill. And we're still coming to this part of the process. You know, we're actually developing something like this through IDOR, the skills bank, to deal with repatriation. So this shows this is 1920 that they are doing the work, that we still are just coming around to get forward to this IRITS here. So it just shows the forward thinking of these pioneers, these ancestors. It says at this point the applicant declares himself ready at any time to needed to fulfill the positions in this list, which he has checked and which he is qualified to fill. Blank spaces appear then for the name, address, present occupation, city, state, and country. The applicant was requested to mail the application to 1812 13th Street, Washington, D.C., in the care of Mrs. Dabney, or 115 West 133rd Street, New York City, care of Charles Manson. And we'd still there, D.C., and do the work. The Prophet Redding, expecting Prince Tafedi to come out of Ethiopia with arms outstretched in the very near future. Chicago Defender, December 20th, 2019, and that might be 1919, at once staged a parade to renounce American Jim Crow citizenship by publicly burning a flag in front of a cafe on 209 East 35th Street on June 20th, 1920. According to the Chicago Defender newspaper, June 25th, a headline stated, "Fanatics burn U.S. flag, murder two, shoot police imposter of the Abyssinian government, stage gun battle in street." So this is the militancy of the Prophet Redding. You know what I mean? He took up arms, and we're going to read the article that goes into the account. Most Rastafari people have never heard of this. You know what I mean? So this is history that most have never heard about. But this is important because this is 1919 people picking up arms, burning the US flag in the name of Rastafari. It really is something serious. So this is the article. It says 2 white men are dead and several seriously injured following a reign of terror which began at 35th Street and Indiana Avenue last Sunday, June 20th at 7:30 o'clock. Hostilities started when Grover Redding, alleged chieftain of the Star Order of Ethiopia, an Ethiopian missionary to Abyssinia, burned the United States flag in front of Entertainers Hall. Redding, clad in regalia styled after the Abyssinian customs, led a parade on horseback to this point after being driven from Trinity M.E. Church, 30th Street and Prairie Avenue by Reverend Barber, who objected to the seditious language used by Redding and his followers who had engaged the church for lecture purposes. Redding engaged in short ceremony before he applied the torch to the flag. Policeman Joseph Owens of the Cottage Grove Avenue station was attracted by the flames and rushed to the scene to prevent Redding from burning another flag. So a man come with whole heap of flag, US flag for burn, it looked like. And the police running upon him. Owens, according to the witnesses, attempted to arrest Redding. And when he placed his hand on the latter, four shots rang out in rapid succession. Owen sank to his knees, but later regained his feet, staggered to the drugstore, and sent in a riot call. So he put his hand to stop Redding from burning another flag, and it looked like him just unload upon him. Same time, bad man thing him a deal with. And I don't know why he took it to that extreme at that time, and that kind of fiery, extremists. We don't encourage that behavior, none at all, because at the end of the day, we could have done better with Redding with us a longer time. He could have, this kind of behavior, we don't encourage it for the young people. And Rastafari, we're now known as a peaceful movement. We use word, sound, and power, you know what I mean, as opposed to this kind of radical, more demonstrative kind of vibration, because this is not sustainable. But again, we're here in 2025 reading about it, so his name is still written in the history. R.L. Rose White, a sailor from Company G15 Regiment stationed at the Great Lakes Naval Training Station, ran to the rescue of the officer and made an attempt to secure the flag, which Redding was about to burn. So this shows you how important the symbology of the flag. People are literally giving their life to defend the US flag. Redding is taking lives for his right to burn the flag. So symbology, this is a war over symbology. Redding, so the man running to rescue the officer and made an attempt to secure the flag, which Redding was about to burn. Mason Furno and his son, alleged to be Abyssinians and followers of Redding, made for a nearby auto in which several high-powered army rifles had been concealed. So it looked like Redding brethren them come with the firepower. So it looked like this is a plan. So similar to the Coral Garden incident where you had some radical man who come with a plan to take down some man that day that looked like Redding was making a last stand and then convince some man to join him in this kind of last stand. And remember, this is Jim Crow America, so this is where black people are getting lynched, and so the psychological trauma, they were probably just sick of it and ready. Furno's son fired at Rose, and the latter made a dash for the United Cigar Store, located at 270 East 35th Street. Rose was shot dead in the store, and Joseph Hoyt White, a clerk, was also slain when he sought to rescue Rose. It has not been established whether Redding or Furnos killed the two white men. The Furnos have not been captured. Witnesses stated that after Redding burned the flag and policeman Owens was shot, one of the Furnos shouted, "Join us, boys! We are 40 million strong." Redding was arrested Monday. So we're looking at the article of the time. Again, we give thanks for the author to include these historical documents so we overstand, what we're reading is literal history, world history. 2 days later, Prophet Redding was hanged. A supporter of the Star of Ethiopia said to the commission investigating race relations in Chicago, "I am a radical. I despise and hate the white man. They will always be against the Ethiopian. I do not want to be called Negro, colored, or nigger. Either term is an insult to me or to you. Our rightful name is Ethiopian. White men stole the black man from Africa and counseled with each other as to what to do with him and to what to call him. For when the Negro learned that he was the first civilized human on earth, he would wise up and rebel against the white man. To keep him from doing this, it was decided to call him Negro after the Niger River in Africa. This was to keep him from having that knowledge by the Bible, for his right name was Ethiopian. This was done so we would always be ruled by the white man. I will call your attention to the Bible. There is not one word of evil against the children of Israel and the Ethiopia written in it. Ethiopia came out of Israel, and God said that they are his people and he will be their God. He also says after 300 years of punishment, he will never desert Israel again, and will be with him forever and ever. We find by the Bible that he, the Ethiopians, is the only child of God. The 300 years of punishment are up, and this is the year of deliverance. It started in 1619 when we were stolen from Africa and made slaves. God is taking care of the black man. Some great destruction will take place, but God's chosen people will be all right. The Chicago Commission on Race Relations reported that the reason for the flag burning was intended to symbolize the feeling of Ethiopian followers that it was time to forswear allegiance to the American government and consider themselves under the allegiance of the government of Ethiopia under Ras Tafari, regent and plenipotentiary of Ethiopia. So, Elder Pennycooke.
Yes, sir.
How did I find this history of the Prophet Redding, his relatively quick rise, and his going out, with this act of defiance and violence against his oppressor, being hanged. How did I see this incident?
Well, what he did was tragic. Yeah. It's almost as if he wanted to be an army and go up against another army, and then he would have a chance. But the way how he did it, he didn't have a chance. So he died shortly afterwards. And that was a waste, right? Now, what we have to do is look at how His Majesty would deal with a situation like that. Yeah, and we know that His Majesty not going to deal with it, how him deal with it. So how would His Majesty deal with it? Simple. Come home. Come home, black people. What are you waiting on? Come home. Yes, man, and we will make home a very lovely place. Yeah, you will not be sorry. No,
Yes,
all of
yes.
these luxuries and things that we are exposed to, it's nice, but it cannot compare to what awaits us in Africa.
Hmm.
What awaits us is we gonna build our own everything. You can imagine that. I don't know how many of us know this, but there's an African brother named Maxwell Chikumbutso that has invented free energy. Free energy. So that means that when you make a bike and you sit down on the bike, you can ride the bike forevermore and it don't have to stop for no fuel, no electric. Same thing with a car, same thing with a plane, same thing with a helicopter, same
Okay.
thing with a house, same
Okay.
thing with energy there. It can be utilized and it's free energy. That means Africa will show the rest of the world how to invent things, and then these things don't have any side effects so that it will not be harmful to the public. That's how we deal with it. So trust me, man. Trust me, man. It's our time now. And we should step up and answer the call.
I love it. I love it. I love it, my elder. And remember that the author of this article is in the chat. He says, remember that this is following the Chicago race riots. You know what I mean?
Well, so much to
Floyd,
remember in
Floyd
America, you know what I
Jarvis.
mean?
We have some scholars here, Elder. We have some scholars here. Let me. Floyd Jarvis says, big up Oscar McGavrick as well. He was Prophet Ratings Chargy. So these ones have researched this extensively. All of this is in the U.S. Library of Congress under the Chicago Race Relations Act, Abyssinian Affair. This is Floyd Jarvis. We're going to have him on to discuss this more in detail. Redding and Dr. Bayan are the prophets. Others not so much, unless they are the prophets like John the Baptist, who doubted if the Messiah was indeed him after speaking highly of him and subsequently losing his head. So he's really bigging up Redding. No, it was not a waste. We are Ethiopians. Pennycooke, you are incorrect. How is he incorrect? Hold on, let me see. I will have to make the I self-available to give the Prophet Grover Redding his just due in this iration ayah. Okay. So Floyd Jarvis wants to set the record straight about Prophet Redding. And as the author rightly said, we have to look at this in the context of the time. 1919, the race riots, black people are being slaughtered. And some people, we have that warrior spirit. We are warrior people. And him and his brethren look like they said, we're done being the victim. We're going to go and take down some man, because they had the assault rifles ready and they were busting shot. They never hesitate for bust shot. So these ones took that militant fullness, you know what I mean? They took that militant direction. But I'm interested to hear the I take, Ras Floyd. So we definitely will set that up. We're coming out of Lich Tafari month. This month is Lich Tafari month on the channel. And next month, August, we're calling it Pan-African History Month. So let's see if we can make this happen in August, Ras Floyd, where we can come and set the record straight, because it's Marcus Garvey's Earth Strong, because it's Menelik II Earth Strong, Zari Jacob Earth Strong, We're calling it Pan-African History Month, and we want to highlight some attributions and some great Pan-Africanists. Seriously, you know what I mean? So this is a history, but like I said, regardless of what we're saying that every Rastafari and Pan-African people need to know the name Prophet Grover Redding. He's one of the people whose name needs to be in the history, just the same way we look at Nat Turner and some of the ones that took that militant stand, Paul Bogle, different people who, because that is also part, the resistance part is part of our tradition. We were not all just passive in the face of the atrocities. Some man said, no, a gunshot you're going to get if you take it that so. We have to acknowledge that part of the chart, and I mean that is a reality. Again, Rastafari has evolved into a word sound power movement, and that is what we advocate on this platform. Is demonstrating our power through economics now, where we can, instead of having to arm and go into the streets, we can exercise economic power, because we know all of the wars of the world right now are being pushed by people with massive economic power, and these people are not on the battlefield fighting for their causes. You know what I mean? They are using their economics, and unfortunately, the poor are on the battlefield dying. But that's another show. We're going to continue. And again, we're not going to go through the whole article, but we're going to go just this early part. The American presence, we still haven't got to Garvey, how Garvey fits in, but it's here. All right, so the Chicago Commission on Race Relations reported that the reason for the flag burning was intended to symbolize a feeling of Ethiopian followers that it is the time to forswear allegiance to the American government and consider themselves under the allegiance to the government of Ethiopia under Ras Tafari, regent and plenipotentiary of Ethiopia. While Redding was parading in Chicago, Robert Atlee Rogers was parading in Newark, New Jersey, with a host of black men protected by riding officers of the city and accompanied by members of the Salvation Army carrying banners proclaiming a universal holiday for black people and for telling of their industrial and national independence. So, though Prophet Redding lived only 1 year after the Ethiopian mission enlightened him for the Star Order of Ethiopia to prepare for repatriation, when Prince Ras Tafari would fulfill biblical prophecy by coming to America to gather the scattered Ethiopians for the purpose of building an Ethiopian empire, and only 8 days after publicly declaring his allegiance to the Ethiopian government of Ras Tafari, it did not stop the Ethiopian expectation for repatriation to their motherland. Chicago Reverend James Morris Webb then began preaching from his pamphlet entitled "A Black Man Will Be the Coming Universal King, Proven by Biblical History" to the UNIA on October 22nd and November 5th. At this time, Robert Atlee Rogers began traveling throughout Central and South America and Caribbean on boats, preaching the gospel of Ethiopia's redemption for over a year. So I want the global family to understand, as Rastafari is ascending in Ethiopia, these are emissaries going out through the earth that is spreading the word, that is seeding the soil about Ethiopia, about Rastafari, about the identity of I and I as black people in the West. You know what I mean? So this shows again the global impact, and this is why when we hail His Majesty as the Almighty, it's not a local vibration. Because a lot of time you have a man that rises as a cult leader and is just local man around the place, and yeah, man, this is the man and he's the Christ. And because this is not, people calling themselves the Christ is not unusual. And one of the things that we love about His Majesty, he never take that title to himself. Is the people declare him as such, as the Almighty. Is the people, the globe, the disciples, those who are searching, those who are thirsty in the desert, looking for that salvation. Is them declare the man, as the Almighty in flesh and bone. So this is a global movement, and this is something that we can be proud of as Rastafari global family. So on March 29, 1922, Marcus Garvey addressed the Newark, New Jersey division of the UNIA at a mass gathering attended by Robert Atlee Rogers, after which Rogers declared Garvey an apostle of the Lord God for the redemption of Ethiopia and her suffering posterities. Then, at the UNIA 1922 convention on July 29, Reverend Webb again lectures the UNIA on the coming of the universal Black King. At the convention, Persian Consul General H. Topakian read a message from the Ethiopian region plenipotentiary Ras Tafari. And this is something we've talked about on this channel before, the connection between Ras Tafari and the UNIA. And this is a very important historical message. It says, I invite African Americans back to the mother homeland, to particularly those qualified to help solve our big problems and to develop our vast resources. Teachers, artisans, mechanics, writers, musicians, professional men and women, all who are able to lend a hand in the constructive work which our country so deeply feels and greatly needs. And you notice he says musicians, the singers and the players of instruments shall be there. So he's not just looking at the STEM, which he does, mechanics, so he's looking at STEM, he's looking at education, he's also looking at art and culture, professional men and women who are able to lend their hand. And this is why our elder keeps on harping on professionals, because he is obedient to His Majesty teachings and requests. My elder, what you have to say about this statement here, where, because I know that this is the one that really must have touched your heart when you read it, because you have been saying this. But how did you feel when you read this in this article?
Well, it's like say we are on the right track. Yeah. Because what we are doing is exactly what they say they are doing. Yeah. We are looking for the professionals to come in so that we then now can start the work. That's what it is, Yeah. It's a simple thing. Yeah. But it's not all of us going to see that. You understand? And that's all right. Those of us who don't see it, step aside, don't put any obstacles in our way. And those who see, step up, and then let us make a fair start of the work so that others can see and appreciate what it is we are doing. Yeah, that's the only way, because to get everyone to do it is not possible. The logistics is not really there to do it like that. You cannot get all Black people to go back to Africa at the same time. No, no, no. It's going to take years to do that. But in the meantime, enough of us can go to make a difference. And what difference? Yes, putting the continent in a modern state of mind. Yeah, that's all is needed, A modern continent. Africa is ancient. Africa is antiquity. And that is how the colonialists had kept it. They didn't want it any other way. But we who now are responsible for the continent, we realize that modernity is what it needs. And then now we go to work to make that a possibility, right? Now, a brother did say that I am wrong, right? I'm kind of interested to know what is that I said that is wrong, right? From what I'm
Yes.
hearing him say, it had something to do with the brother now burn the flag. Is that right?
Mhm. I
Eh?
think it was something you said about Reading.
Right.
Yes, I think
I want
maybe,
to know if it's burning of the flag I'm talking about, right?
maybe. What was
Yeah,
your sermon on the
right,
burning of the flag?
right. No, what I say is that His Majesty would never do that.
Yes,
You
that is
understand?
correct.
So that is who we look to, the Majesty. He is the one who is speaking on our behalf. He is the one who went to the League of Nations and uttered a speech none of us can make. Yeah, he uttered a speech none of us can make. So we have to look at him and learn from him what it is we need to do to get rid of this, um, well, you could call it burden that has been placed on us. Yeah, you know. So really and truly, all I'm saying is this. We are needed at home, yes. And if we go home, that need, yes, we will feel it. Because when someone needs you, yes, you will feel it. And Africa needs us, yes. So that's all I'm saying, you know?
Yes, yes, I. I'm going to read this again. So, this is a message from Ras Tafari to the UNIA at the 1922 convention on July 29th, read by the Persian Consul General Tapakian. Um, and he said, I invite African Americans back to the homeland, particularly those qualified to help solve our big problems and develop our vast resources. Teachers, artisans, mechanics, writers, musicians, professional men and women, all who are able to lend a hand in the constructive work which our country so deeply feels and greatly needs. And this is one of the things I use when people try to say His Majesty was a bandwagonist who jumped on the Pan African bandwagon in the 1960s with the formation of the Organization of African Unity. I usually give them a drop kick in at them chest with this history because this shows this is the first African leader to reach out to the diaspora in a significant way, and this is 1922 when some of these Pan-Africanists were still young people, you know what I mean? So it just shows that Rastafari was not influenced, because some people say, boy, him see Kwame and Nkrumah and all of them rising up and him jump on the bandwagon. And Nkrumah, a little boy, them time, yeah, you know what I mean? So um, just to set the record straight in terms of the Pan-African credentials of His Majesty, the history is there. On September 29, 1923, Ethiopia joined the League of Nations. And on January 15, 1924, Robert Atlee Rogers published the Holy Pibi, which stated, and I saw Bongo Wisey write about the Holy Pibi, so we get to the Holy Pibi, and this is an excerpt from the Holy Pibi. For as much of the children of Ethiopia, God's favorite people of old, have turned away from His divine majesty, neglecting life economic, believing that they could, on spiritual wings, fly to the kingdom of God, consequently became a dependent for the welfare of others. Mother Ethiopia, the convention has triumphed. Your sorrows have brought joy to Ethiopia. Your tears have anointed her soil with a blessing. Your cries have awakened her children throughout the earth. Ye, in the corners of the unknown world, they are aroused, and is prophesying, saying, Prepare ye the way for the Redeemer. For unto Ethiopia this day a shepherd is anointed. Ye, as a shepherd gathers his sheep, so shall he gather unto God the generation of Ethiopia, even from the ends of the earth, and lead them high, a nation among nations. Then shall the inhabitants of the earth know that the Lord our God has not forsaken Ethiopia, and that the might is weak against his command, and unto no nation has he given power forever. When the might angel had finished speaking to the heavenly hosts, he then turned to the earth and said, Children of Ethiopia, stand. And there flashed upon the earth a great multitude of Negroes, knowing not from whence they came. Then shouted instantly the heavenly host, Behold, Ethiopia has triumphed. The angel of the Lord roved utterly in four colors, and commanded him to put forth his right hand, and the messenger presented in his right hand the staff, and in his left hand the holy law, saying, Go and administer this law through thine apostles unto the children of Ethiopia. Command them to rise from their feet of their oppressors. Great is the penalty if there be any failure on your part to deliver the law. Serious thing. And
Do you have a part in it where it mentions Rastafarites? You
yeah,
know where it is?
um,
Okay.
it's after this part, but these were the holy commandments that you talked about. Love ye one
Right.
another, O children of Ethiopia, for
Yes.
no other way
Yes.
can ye love the Lord our God. And these, we won't go through the commandments, but these are some of the foundational works of the Rastafari movement. The Holy Pibi, is one of the works when you're coming into the liberty that you have to read. As a reading Ras, me tell the item, said this is it. Let me see what the author is saying here. He said, now we can understand the context for why Rogers wrote the Holy Pibi. Of course, it makes sense in this you know this rise in consciousness, and how all black people were considering themselves Ethiopian. There was a unity in the term Ethiopian. And remember that this is before the nation state was officially called Ethiopia. The Ethiopia moniker was used by His Majesty after the war, after he returned, 1941. The world more so was calling it Abyssinia. It was also called Ethiopia informally, but most of the people were saying Abyssinia. Ethiopia was a concept. So the fact that His Majesty ensured that the official name was Ethiopia was also a power move to show the unification of black people, and to show this as a mecca for black people. His Majesty knew what he was doing in claiming that term Ethiopia, which is a Pan-African term in and of itself, because Ethiopia, the term is not confirmed to the geographic borders of the nation state of Ethiopia today. You know what I mean? It was never considered that in history before His Majesty, um, you know, gave it manifestation in terms of attaching it to that geographic land space, the nation state. But prior to that, black people were just known as Ethiopians, you know what I mean? And Ethiopia was a symbol for black people. So His Majesty taking that and asserting that, again, these are Pan-African movements. Um, so I'm going to skip over these things. If you want to read the Holy Pibi, Shepherd's Prayer, I'm looking at the time. We're over our 10 o'clock time, so we're going to just skim over some of this. Again, go read the article. It's at balanta.org. Very thorough, the Brethren research, always very thorough. The Brethren also wrote a book on His Majesty visit to America in 1954. And that book, I have to say, was the first time I was exposed to a lot of the information about His Majesty visit to America, which is also powerful, very powerful. And remember that these people are waiting in 1920 for His Majesty to visit, and that visit was not fulfilled until 1954. So this is a very, you know what I mean, just show you the power then of His Majesty, who at this time had not even stepped foot in America, but man a bus shot for His Majesty, man a dead for His Majesty, man a hold parade for His Majesty. You know what I mean? All kind of thing are going for His Majesty, and His Majesty not even crown of King of Kings at this time. All right, so let's continue. It says, by the summer of 1924, Marcus Garvey and the UNIA seem to have concretized the program for Ethiopian repatriation. On March 16, 1924, Marcus Garvey delivered a speech at Madison Square Garden in honor of the return to America of the delegation sent to Europe and Africa by the Universal Negro Improvement Association to negotiate for the repatriation of Negroes to a homeland of their own in Africa. Garvey said, the coming together all over this country of fully 6 million people of Negro blood to work for the creation of a nation of their own in their motherland, Africa, is no joke. Our desire is for a place in the world to lay down our burden and rest our weary backs and feet by the banks of the Niger, and sing our songs and chant our hymns to the God of Ethiopia. As children of captivity, we look forward to a new day, to a new yet ever old land of our fathers, the land of refuge, the land of the prophets, the land of saints, the land of God's crowning glory. Should I give my Marcus Garvey voice? And we shall gather together our children and the treasures and our loved ones and the children of Israel by the command of God, face the promised land. Good and dear America that has succored us for 300 years knows our story. All right, let me leave that voice there. The thoughtful and industrious of our race want to go back to Africa because we realize it will be our only hope of permanent existence. We cannot all go in a day or a year, 10 or 20 years. It will take time under the rule of modern economics to entirely or largely depopulate a country of people who have been its residents for centuries, but we feel that with proper help, for 50 years, the problem can be solved. So Marcus was very practical. He knew it wasn't overnight. We do not want all Negroes in Africa. Some are no good here and naturally will be no good there. That still stands. I don't try convert nobody to repatriation. We don't try convert nobody to watch the Lion Voice Network. We reach out to the like minds, you know what I mean? We want the people who are serious to join this movement. If you are a troublemaker, stay where you're there. The no good Negro will naturally die in 50 years. The Negro who is wrangling about fighting for social equality will naturally pass away in 50 years and yield his place to the progressive Negro who wants a society and country of his own. Now that prophecy didn't come to pass because, now we see this growing movement of people who are not even claiming their African history. You know what I mean? So a lot of things the elders couldn't see, but they were not far off in terms of the solution. What are you going to expect that the white men are going to build up America and elsewhere and hand it over to us? This question we're still asking, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people say America is where it is, and you know what I mean? I don't argue. I do not argue. Let everyone do what the Most High is calling them to do in this hour. I say repatriation is a must. During the 1924 UNIA convention, members of the UNIA boarded 5 ships from ports in the Caribbean and the United States. We still have not been able to get to these heights. And that's a shame, as black people. As soon as the UNIA contingent departed from Liberia, the United States government dispatched a quick light cruiser with the Secretary of State on board. So you see, the Secretary of State, that's a Marco Rubio level position today. They sent big guns to go lick down Garvey plan because they knew they could not afford to lose African Americans, Black Americans. Black Americans are the prize in terms of industry. You know what I mean? So America, you see, sent a boat with the Secretary of State. That's not a little man. You know what I mean? The cruiser sped past the UNIA fleet of ships. The United States Secretary of State met with President King in a secret meeting. Contents of this meeting were not disclosed to the public. As the UNIA and its fleet approached the shores of Liberia, the Liberian Navy blocked its passage, preventing them from coming ashore. Captain of the Black Star Line displayed the lease agreement signed and agreed upon by President King. However, President King adamantly refused to meet the UNIA delegation. In the middle of the convention, Associated Press reports that the Liberian government statement rejected the UNIA under pressure from the British and French government. Liberia grants Firestone Rubber Company a 99-year lease on the 1 million acres it had originally granted to the UNIA. So the double cross, whole heap of money, Firestone through the American government gave President King to sell out Black movement, which is why Garvey should have probably tried to make that link with Ethiopia. Now, this information I did not know. It says on August 1st, 1924, on behalf of the 4th Annual Convention of Negro Peoples of the World, Garvey wrote to Ethiopian Empress Zaidi. I didn't know this part. Greetings from the 400 million Negroes of the world through our convention now sitting in New York. We hope for you and your country a reign of progress and happiness. Our desire is to help you maintain the glory of Ethiopia. Your expression of goodwill toward us 2 years ago through your Consul General is highly cherished, and we are looking forward to the day when large numbers of us will become citizens of Ethiopia. So these communications were making the powers of that be nervous. This is why they try to keep Garvey and His Majesty separate. It says, finally, after the publication of the Holy Pibi and the UNIA 4th Convention, Annie Harvey in New York from Kingston, Jamaica by way of Port Limon, Costa Rica via Panama was called to Ethiopia by a vision and went to Ethiopia for 5 years. Reverend Fitzhugh Ballantyne, Petersburg, who authored the Royal Parchment Scroll of Black Supremacy, also left New York for Jamaica. These are seminal works. The following documents then form the foundation of the Rastafari movement that started in 1919 in Chicago and 33 years later spread to Jamaica. Charles Henry Holmes, Clayton Adams, Ethiopia, The Land of Promise, a book with a purpose. Reading Star of Ethiopia pamphlet, 1919. Reverend Webb's A Black Man Will Be the Coming Universal King, proven by biblical history, 1919. Garvey's Philosophies and Opinion, Volume 1, 1923. Roger Holy Pibi, 1924. And Reverend Ballantyne's Royal Parchment School of Black Supremacy, 1924 to 1927. Leonard Howell is usually credited with being the first Rasta. Leonard Howell left Jamaica and arrived in the United States in October 1918, where it is said that Howell worked on 5 U.S. Army vessels until his discharge in 1923. It is likely that Howell read such newspaper headlines as Moses of the Negro race has come to New York and heads a universal organization already numbering 2 million, which is about to elect a high potentate, and dreams of reviving the glories of ancient Ethiopia that appeared in the New York World, special featured by Michael Gold for the Sunday Supplement on August 22nd, 1920. Nevertheless, in 1924, Howell took a room on Horatio Street on the Lower East Side, New York, where he stayed until he returned to Jamaica in November of 1932. In May 1924, Leonard Howell applied for U.S. citizenship and later opened a shop at 113 West 136th Street in Harlem. According to Archibald Dunkley, in Robert A. Hill's In Dread History, the UNA declared against Howell in New York. Howell himself told the Jamaican Daily Gleaner, November 23rd, 1940, after my travels and subsequent return to the United States, I became attracted to the Rastafarites and afterward returned home to Jamaica to preach its tenets. The Rastafarites retreat to Mountain of Fastness in St. Catherine. So this is the Daily Gleaner that was calling Leonard Howell's followers the Rastafarites, and Leonard Howell talking about the Rastafarites. Where did Leonard Howell learn the tenets of the Rastafarites? In the United States from Reading, Webb, Ford, Rogers, Ballantine, and Garvey. What were the first tenets of the Rastafarites? So this is where we're talking about what we define as the Rastafarites according to the author and according to this research. So these were the key tenets, and then we're going to seal up here with final sounds. Acceptance of Ethiopian identity. This comes from Rogers and Reading. So Atlee Rogers, Prophet Reading, declaring the Ethiopian identity. And these are still parts of Rastafari up to this day. Rejection of white supremacy. Holmes, 1917. Rogers, 1917. Reading, 1919. Use of biblical prophecy. Reading, Rogers, Webb, 1919. Recognition of the Messianic Universal Black King, Webb. So Webb, because Garvey did not see it this way. We don't know if how Reading saw it. Maybe Ross Floyd can give us some more eyes in terms of the divinity, but Webb was looking at it from an Ivinic, Ivine perspective. Pledge of allegiance to the government of Rastafari. Reading was very clear on that allegiance. We don't know if, again, he was going from a celestial perspective or just a sovereign perspective. It seemed like it was a sovereign perspective. The use of the picture of Rastafari, Reading, 1919, Ford, 1930, and of course Leonard Howell famously was selling pictures of the coronation and things, so he would have learned this again from the Rastafarites. Physical return to Ethiopia for the purpose of building the Ethiopian Empire. We go far back as Delaney, 1836, Alexander, 1908, Reading, 1919. Use of Ethiopian flags and parade, Reading, 1919, Rogers, 1919. Would have to put in Garvey as a big parade man too. Because Leonard Howell would have seen the Garvey parades as well. Martyrdom and defense of Ethiopian freedom. Reading was a martyr. Organization for repatriation, Ethiopia, Delaney, and Reading. So these were the tenets. Let me see here. Let's end it right there because we're at 10:30. I want to be respectful of my guests and everyone's time. So how do I see this role of the Rastafarites, Elder Pennycooke?
Well, it started in America, went to Jamaica, spread out around the world. So all of us are related to each other. Yeah, when we say we are not Rasta, no, we are Rasta. Yeah, and this is the proof. Now, what makes us Rasta, is that we want to go back to Ethiopia, which is Africa. Yeah, so that is what it is all about. And if we can really focus on that aspect of what it is we do, I think we can really achieve success and, let us say, move the ball forward. Yeah. So what we are doing is trying to identify 100,000 professionals. 100,000 professionals. Yes. And they will be returning to Africa with us to spread out all over the continent so that we can transition the continent in a few years to what it should be. Yes. Africa for Africans at home and abroad. Yes, sir.
Give thanks, give thanks. So there you have it, family. Let me just thank my elder, Ras Ronald Pennycooke, who brought this article to him and attention, told I to link him, and that is why we are here. So sometime, we have these things pre-planned. Sometimes we get a link and the inspiration of the Most High just makes it happen. So I want to thank my elder for exposing I, because again, I knew most of this information, but the sources, the citations, the visuals, these things help to reinforce and give us deeper understanding of the heights, you know what I mean? So let me big up the brethren, Sifaway, and I know him as Ras Nathaniel from that time. Again, controversial within the Rastafari family, but the work speaks for itself. You know what I mean? So we're non-partial to work, and the brethren's research to I is always been solid. So we give thanks, and we, I think we all benefit from having this information become part of our story. The brethren says, so idolful that I took time to go through this research, enough respect. And respect to the I for putting out this research, you know what I mean, so that I and I, as the global family, can watch this. I know a lot of ones will watch this on the replay. A lot of ones will go to the website and sip up. And the brethren has other articles and same type of research style with visuals and pictures of the articles and thing. The brethren went to Princeton, so I know if you're doing research and thing. So that's great. And, as the reading Ras, I endorse the acquisition of knowledge, regardless. I want every Rastafari and Pan-African to be confident, put little, strength in your spine, stand up straight when you're in Pan-African reasonings. Be armed so that you can dismantle this kind of diaspora war reasoning and tribalism that they're trying to push on black people right now. Black American, FBA, ADOS, this, that, against Caribbean, against continent. It's all PSYOPs, CIA, intelligence agencies trying to have us fighting each other because they see the rise of Africa cannot be stopped. His Majesty said the tide that's sweeping Africa cannot be stopped. No force on earth is great enough to halt or reverse a trend. Its march is inexorable and relentless as the passage of time. So they're doing everything that they can to stop this uprising, as the elders say. We're moving into a golden era of Rastafari, of Pan-African resistance and uprising. And as Rastafari family, this channel is one of those that has risen to ensure that we are counted among our Pan-African brothers and sisters as an important voice bringing the unity of black people. We're not going to allow them to give our narrative as just one love and happy-go-lucky and, kumbaya and all these things and forget where we're coming from. A resistance to white supremacy, African redemption, repatriation, return. You see the tenets that were outlined of the Rastafarites. These were the core at the beginning of the movement, and they didn't change. when Jamaica, took the baton and spread the thing global. You know what I mean? They did not change. So let us give thanks for the revelation. But there's work to be done, as the elder said. We need professionals to come together. And I'm appealing to the professionals to support this platform. We're bringing professionals on this platform. I have some tremendous interviews lined up. We just sealed up with Ras Tafari. Powerful interview. We have Tony Rebel. Powerful interview. So much content is coming, family. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the platform, because we're continuing to seek out the ones them. We're just continuing our Rastafari and STEM series. We have Richard James. We're going to put up the full episode. Genius mathematician out of Montego Bay. If you haven't seen his clips, make sure you check them out. We have so much content coming, family. We're so excited to share with the item. But we need, our goal was to reach 100 people in the Patreon by the end of July. We are hovering at 35, 36, in between 35 and 36 now for almost a year. So we need people to come in, $5, $10, the price of a cup of coffee a month you can support. And this is important because we need to hire an editor. I can't keep doing all of the work. It's too much. But we're doing it because we have the vision to manifest it. But we need the item not just to say, great work, Ras, we love what you do. We need you to come on board and support the work. And I am building the crowdfunding model because I don't want to depend on sponsorship. I don't want a sponsor come and say, because I say, Ray, I can't get the check this month and the thing pop down. The only way for media to stay independent is when it's audience funded. So I'm depending on this audience. We have a audience. We are 46,000 plus strong in the Lion Pride now. So can you imagine if everyone give $10 of that 46,000? That's $500,000 almost, right? So in a day. Now I know most of my audiences on the African continent probably can't do that. But those who are professionals who watch, I know that the item can. So I'm asking the item to come off of the bench, support the platform so that we can continue to bring you this high level Rastafari reasoning. All right, that said, Elder Pennycooke, give us your final sound for the evening to the global family, and give thanks for opening my eyes to this research as laid out in this article. But give us your final sound, Elder Pennycooke.
Well, this information is new to me, I must say. And I was quite pleased when I really understood what it said. Rastafarites from America went to Jamaica and they became the Rastafarian. Now the two groups are still around today. Now we need to really coordinate with each other. The first commandment is for us to love each other. Yeah. All of these rumors about this one don't like that one, and that's not important. What is important is that we love each other. Yes. And if we love each other, we will be united. And if we are united, then there is nothing we cannot solve on the planet. So let us just love each other and see where it takes us. Yeah. That's about all I have to say.
Well, thank you. And on behalf of the global family, we thank DI for your diligent work over the decades. and for reaching out to young people like myself. Although my beard full of grey, still young in heart, but give thanks to the eyes of Elder, reaching out to I and sharing the knowledge, not keeping the knowledge to yourself, but always seeking to spread it out. So give thanks for the eye, and give thanks to the Global Lion Pride for making this the fastest growing Rastafari platform on the planet in terms of subscribers. Again, we are seeking ones to join us in the Patreon, the paid subscription to help to fund this. We're working on the crowdfunding model. We're stuck at 35, 36. We get to 37, then a couple people leave. Couple more join, couple people leave. So we've been hovering around this 35, 36 level. So we need ones, and I'm not talking to the ones that are not interested. I'm talking to the ones that know, say, this has become your favorite channel or one of your favorite channels, one of your go-to. I'm saying don't just be a watcher. Support with your dollars, $5. That's $1.25 a strong. If you can't afford that and you live in the West, I don't know if to tell you. But you can afford the $5. Start at the $5, jump to the $10 if you can. Join us. We have our town hall meetings. We're building there. You can watch our town hall meetings for free in the Patreon. If you join as a free member on the Patreon, you can watch our town hall meeting. To participate, you have to become a paid member. But we're building a family that will help each other to grow in the Patreon. So if you want to be part of a like-minded collective of people, we also provide early access to the interviews, and we'll have other benefits as we go along. Discounts to different service providers. We'll have a list of those shortly. So if you want to just be part of a collective of ones who are serious about the works, who are like-minded, who love His Majesty, who are Pan-African in their scope, any race, creed, and culture, big up Coach Tommy, a brethren of European descent, our latest member of the Patreon. So we don't discriminate. We just say, come with a clean hands and a pure heart, a humble spirits, and we will build together. Now, this channel, we are about the black root of Rastafari and preserving the integrity of the Pan-African essence. But that doesn't mean that we are anti anybody. You know what I mean? We love all nations, and we want to support all nations in what they're doing, just as they support I and I. So that is how we view it. So no matter where you're from, don't feel shy to join our community. And if you want to see how Coach Tommy was received at the town hall meeting, again, you can go watch for free and see the love where we have for people of all nation, all creed, all class, you know what I mean? So there you have it, family. Once again, Lion Talk Live. We have the legendary Elder Ras Ronald Pennycooke. We are here doing the work of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. We are not going to stop. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the lion's voice.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
Yeah, now the time has come for the lion to tell his own story. Yeah, the one them called Celestial I represent for the mighty lion voice. And this a shook up your planet tectonic. As me sip up my roots and tectonic. And you can't make me jump nor get panic. Of the engine a run like mechanic. Room.
The time has come for the lioness to tell her own story.
The time has come for lions to tell our own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. I is Ras hailing from the island of St. Croix. Yeah, man, bringing to your Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Because Babylon done when I and I come together. Look how we live together, look how we work together, Oh, Babylon done when Rasta come together. Hail I, Rastafari, His Majesty and Empress men and bless. Yeah man, hailing from St. Croix, RasTafari, I hear you.
Aye.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
Alright, listen to me now, people. The lion roar, no dog bark. See? The lion's voice with Kwasi Bonsu. Time right now for the lion to tell his story. See? Listen up.
Haile.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Land's voice. Now put it. I Jollifer said that.
Greetings, this is Ras Elder. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir? Ras Elder said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir?
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Oh, yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.